Hey everyone, this is Kevin from thechesswebsite.com, and I wanted to go over a nice little trap that I saw not too long ago in a chess game. So I want to talk about some of the key points in the trap and some of the things you want to think about if you do see it. It's the Blackburne Schilling trap, and it comes from the Italian game. The Italian game starts with pawn e4, pawn e5, knight to f3 for development, knight to c6 for development, and bishop to c4. Now from here, you'll see a lot of common moves. You may see bishop to c5 for the Gioca piano, but the more uncommon move that we're going to talk about today is knight to d4. Now from here, black's already completely disregarded one of the opening principles, which is don't move one of your minor pieces twice if you don't have to, and that's exactly what he's done. From here, white's has this pawn on e5 he can take, but that's the trap. And so I recommend, if you do see this, to play one of two moves. Knight takes on d4, or the move I actually prefer better is king castles kingside. As you can see here, white has two development pieces attacking the center. White's attacking this pawn on f7, which is a huge weakness for black, and at the same time he has kingside safety. Black doesn't have a whole lot going on as far as development. So if we completely disregard this gambit on e5, white's going to have a very good game. But black would really like white to take on e5, so that's what we're going to talk about today in the trap. If knight takes on e5, then black is now going to play queen to g5. If he doesn't play queen to g5, he wasn't setting a trap, he was just a completely terrible chess player, and you should win easy anyway. So from here, the queen is attacking this knight on e5, and he's also attacking this pawn on g2. Now a lot of times white from here, since his knight's being attacked, will take on f7 with his knight. As you can see, his knight can't be captured because his bishop on c4 is covering it, so the king can't capture. At the same time, he's attacking this rook on h8, and he's also attacking this queen on g5. So from here, black can completely disregard this knight, and he can take on g2. Now if white tries to hold on to this rook by f1, he can't move to g1 because then we could just take it. But if he moves to f1, then black can come to e4, take check, and then white has one of two moves. He can bring his queen to e2, where we can take with our knight, or if he doesn't move his queen to e2, then he can bring his bishop, and from here we can actually play knight to f3 and checkmate. He can't take our rook. His king can't move. This is smothered mate. He can't take our knight on f3 because of our queen here. So be sure if you do see this, that you don't fall for this trap. Now a lot of times you may not see. I do want to go over some of the other variations. If we do play on g2, now if white plays his knight takes on h8, now from here we can take this rook on h1. Now from here, the only move, his king can't come to e2 because of our knight. The bishop can come to f1. Now our queen can capture on e4. And from here he has two options. If he captures on e2, or excuse me, moves his queen to e2, as you already know, we can capture with our knight. If he doesn't, if he instead moves to e2 now this is not going to be checkmate if we move our knight to f3, but instead we can bring our bishop to c5 and put a lot of pressure on this f2 pawn. We're going to eventually have a lot of attacking going on against the king, and this is going to be very good for black. So I just want to go over some of the variations that you may see. Now the other move that you will see, instead of knight takes on f7, which is the better move, if white does fall into this trap, the better move is to play bishop to f7 check. Now as you can see here, not only can we not capture this bishop on f7, but we have to move our king. Now from here, after the king comes to d8, from here the best move from white is going to be castle kingside. Remember, this queen on g5 is still attacking this pawn on g2. So we'd really like our king to be in safety if you're white. So we really want to castle kingside. Now from here the queen's going to recapture on e5. So as you can tell already from this example, white is down in material. And that's if they played correctly after they took on e5. Now I do want to talk about a few points here. A lot of times from here you'll see bishop take on g8 and the rook take on g8 after the capture. So from here black's up in material, but black can't castle on either side. So for now his black king is going to be near the center on d8. And at the same time, white's going to have a nice little center with his pawns. He can he can push his pawn to c3 and then thrust forward with d4. So white does have a little bit of advantage as far as his pawn development. But at the same time, a lot of times in chess, a lot of players, if they get down to material, they can't fight back. So just keep this in mind. If you like the king being open and d8 not being able to castle anywhere, then you may actually want to accept the gambit at the beginning and take on e5. But if you're one of those players that gets down to material early and falls into traps pretty easily, I would not recommend it. Only because if you don't take the trap and you castle kingside earlier, you're going to have a much easier game than trying to fight back in this position from being down to material. So if you do see this trap or want to play this trap, these are some of the things you definitely want to keep in the back of your mind when you play it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you haven't checked out the website in a while, www.thechesswebsite.com. Thanks for watching, everybody.